And I thought it was really interesting how Tate's mindset has evolved in a similar way to mine. So we're going to tune in, listen to it. Make sure you like the video on your way in. And if you want, donate to our divorce documentary, where we want to tell the ins and outs of the divorce system. So if we raise enough money, we can do that. All right, let's listen.
Magaluf for a weekend and do something very similar. And then they come back to England and get with some fucking guy and start asking for presents from him and talking about how they deserve a traditional relationship and they want to get married and they want a Christmas present and all this bullshit. Most women do exactly what Bonnie does. I don't see you any different than most women. And I'm not saying that in a degrading way.
Most women don't sleep with 1,057 men in a day.
1,000? Does it fucking matter?
I think it does.
I don't really think it does. So it's all disgusting to me. If I met a woman... And
this is why you just got to assume all women are hoes. All of them. Me, her. It doesn't do you any favors to give women the benefit of the doubt, you know? So he's right about that.
He said, I just sucked a dick yesterday. I'd say, well, I find you repulsive. I don't want to sleep with you. Goodbye.
What, so you're only going after virgins?
Well, it's not about only going after virgins, but I think if you're a straight man, the idea of having a bunch of men fuck a woman that you're with is pretty repulsive.
But everyone has a past.
But see, this is the kind of shit white people say. I don't know what's wrong with you people. Everyone has a past. That's not acceptable. In fact, let's analyze that. Everyone has a past. You're right. Everyone does have a past. It's true. But isn't the primary objective of a man to find a woman with as little past as possible? Would you argue that's one of the precursors to finding a wife? Considering that wives were supposed to be virgins. This was the deal. The reason I'm proud of Bonnie, and I am genuinely proud of you, I like Bonnie. I like what she's doing. Because the deal was...
Are you not, like, contradicting yourself?
In what way?
Well, you're proud of her sleeping with 1,057 guys, but women should be virgins.
No, I'm saying that the social contract, the construct of society that made family function was women were obedient virgins and they found a man who provided for them and they listened to that man. Women have then said, we don't like the patriarchy. We're tired of being provided for. We're tired of being taken care of. We don't want to listen to anybody. We want to make our own decisions. That was women and feminism that ended the traditional family unit. And now women can make their own decisions. So I'm glad that Bonnie's making her own decision.
Yeah,
I'm not here to tell you not to do it.
I take women back 100 years. I'm like, no, I'm the clear example of how to be empowered. I use my body. I do what I want, when I want. And this is the thing.
So I got to say, there's a part of me that respects Bonnie Blue. I know. The men are like, you're insane. What do you mean you respect? But what I like about and almost admire about Bonnie Blue is she lives life on her own terms. She takes accountability for the choices that she makes and the consequences that come with it. And she doesn't feel the need to defend herself to anybody. She doesn't feel the need to tell anybody that she's right or defend herself. She just says, yeah, call me whatever you want. I'm living life on my own terms.
Been banging on about for years. And when I get hate, like when I click on the comments of these women that are like, oh, you're taking us back 100 years. Then in their bio, it says stay-at-home mom of 2. I'm thinking, what the fuck was you rooting for? Because you have just stayed at home.
That's right, Bonnie. See, this is the future.
Yeah.
This is the future. This is fantastic. It's exactly what Western society is headed to. So why are we going to sit here and pretend this is not? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that most women who go on girls' holidays aren't doing something similar to what Bonnie does, just because it's not on camera? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that these men who walk around with their wives in the pub in England, and they're like, oh, my wife, yeah, everyone has a past. Oh, no, she's done the same shit. What's the difference? Who gives a fuck? Right? We're either going to care and accept that women are judged on their past and judged on their innocence and judged on their naivety and judged on these things like it used to be, or we're going to sit and say it doesn't matter, everyone has a past. Well, if everyone has a past, everyone has a past. Who gives a fuck? Does it really matter?
So
anymore?
What would you do if it was your daughter, though?
But why are you asking an impossible question?
Well, it's not an impossible question.
Of course it is.
How?
It can't happen.
There is an idea that men can control the outcomes of their children and their daughters. And I'm sorry, fellas, but you have no control. Even Andrew Tate, as much as he likes to think he has controls, has no control over that outcome. None. Zero.
But anything can happen.
It's against the laws of physics.
It's not.
I mean, if your daughter opened her legs and took 1,000 dicks, it's not impossible.
Of course it is.
What? I
Why
mean,
is
the
it
dicks would
impossible?
enter her pussy, therefore she's
It's
taken.
literally impossible for my daughter.
What, are you going to be there again?
Yeah, all the guys that have big egos think it could never happen to their daughters. It in fact happens to their daughters. I hope it doesn't, but yeah, you can't control
Your
it.
daughter's pussy saying that dick's not entering it.
No, my daughter just wouldn't make that decision
But why?
because I still raise her in a household where she is masculinely guided, and she will be guided by me until I hand her over to some other man. However, I believe when women are left to their own devices, they will only ever make stupid decisions.
Was mine a stupid decision?
I wouldn't say it's any more stupid than most decisions women make, to be honest with you. I think that most women, to some degree, are sex workers anyway. Like,
I mean, yeah.
let's be honest about it, right? Most women look at Miami or Dubai. What's your job? Oh, I've got a boyfriend. So your job is being a girlfriend. Why does he give you money? Because you give him sex. So most women are sex workers anyway, to be honest.
But isn't
I
that
mean-
what you said the family unit was?
Well, then you're a sex worker with one customer. You know, which is nice. I guess it's better. It's more efficient.
But what about if you're raising children? That's not sex work, is it?
No, that's being a mother.
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting, Rob. Rob said this, not me. So they're either virgins, sex workers, or mothers. Are those the three
I
categories?
think you're putting words into my
I
mouth.
think that's what Rob just said.
I'm
Those
just-
are the three categories.
I'm just sat in the middle.
And women have to choose to be one of them.
So is that what you think?
I think that when a woman becomes a mother, she has a purpose. And I think that women should be having children
I don't. Women don't care about these kids. They don't.
as soon as possible. And I think it gives their life a direction. And I think it's the most important thing to preserve society, especially if you want to talk about geopolitics and talk about race and all of these things. If you want to have a country that looks like the country it used to be, you need to have the original people from there having
Yep, that's done. Cooked. Dead.
children. I think all of that is true. Absolutely. I think every day a woman goes without having kids is primarily a waste of time. But once again, what does it matter what I think? Rob, I've given up. Rob, I've given up trying to save the world. I've
You
given
ha-
up.
no, you
no,
haven't.
Rob. I've
No,
given
you
up.
haven't.
I've given up on misogyny and all this
No,
shit.
you haven't.
They attacked me with the Matrix. They keep throwing me in jail. I am now all for women empowerment. I think women should run around fucking as many men as they want. I like what Bonnie's doing. She's getting the bag. She's getting rich. Most girls out here don't want to have kids. They just want to get Birkin bags and Instagram.
That's true. And if you give a woman a kid that doesn't want kids or isn't meant to be a mother, these women destroy the children. They really do.
Likes. Good.
I am black, Phil. I am. I'm glad it happened to me now rather than spending 10 years fighting. I've given up. You win. You win.
Good. I'm a feminist, a pro-feminism. This is the world now.
See, Bonnie Blue is more likable than half of the women than TradCon women. She's more likable than Lila Rose. Think about it. She acts in a more feminine way than Lila Rose. Now, to be fair, she is paid to learn how to please men in that way. However, like when you see Lila Rose on a podcast with these guys, she's naggy. She does that voice that voice like this, where I'm doing something that's really annoying and bitchy, and I pretend that I don't. That's what she does, right? Bonnie doesn't do that. Her demeanor is more feminine than half of the TradCon women.
How the world's going to end up, who gives a fuck? Who cares about the future? Doesn't matter.
See, women go around, use sex to their advantage, but then are happy to cry about it straight away. Saying, oh, he took advantage of me. And it's like, you're the one that wanted to do sex to have like the job promotion, or you're the one that wanted to have sex to get more attention or try and be more liked. But then they cry about it. And that's what I get frustrated about. And even with porn stars, like people in my industry, they'll do this for a few years, get the
She's serving this look. I'm sorry. That dress is so cute. I kind of want that dress. Oh, that's so cute.
money, get the boob jobs, get the house. And then suddenly they go, oh my God, I was forced into the industry. Oh my God, someone took all my money.
Have
No,
you ever considered a job as a lawyer?
No.
I could do with you. You're 100% right. So this is the false dichotomy of society, right? So this is the reason when I said I like what Bonnie does, because Bonnie completely 100% owns what she does. And she says, it's my decision. And I've seen people try and lecture you. I've seen people sit there and try and lecture you and say like, oh, but you're a creature of God and you shouldn't be doing this. That. No, you should do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
It's up to you to do whatever you want. And you're not saying anybody tricked you into it. It's your decision. And let's be honest, when they talk about taking women back 100 years, let's actually be very honest here, Rob. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
There's always been whores.
It's the oldest profession.
Ancient Rome had whores. There's always been whores. The Aztecs had whores. You think there weren't concubines in the fucking Ming dynasty sucking little Chinese pee-pee? Of course there were. There's always been whores. It's the oldest profession in the world.
Exactly.
So do you think it's a legitimate job?
Well, I mean, no, check her bank. I'm sure she's making fucking loads of money. So here's where do you draw the line? If we're going to live in this false dichotomy, because the world was very simple once, not too long ago. And men had this terrible misogynistic view, which I, of course, don't agree with, that women can't make their own decisions because they're naturally chaotic. And when women decide anything, life's fucked up.
All right, so this is my opinion on it. As much as we hate it, I do believe that people have a right to their hell. There are people that live in hell because of drugs, addiction, and just poor life decisions, women especially. I don't believe in taking away the right to make bad decisions as long as it's not illegal and hurting anybody else. However, the challenge is we're in a modern society that does not give women the consequences for those bad decisions. So it would be one thing if we got the decision and the consequence, but because the consequences are taken away, that's where the issue is. If Bonnie Blue wants to make a bunch of money on OnlyFans, whatever, but it's when you simps let her come to your church after, she won't be there. But yeah, okay.
In fact, these men in their disgusting misogyny believed if you gave women the vote, we'd end up with open borders and drag queen story hour. So they didn't give women the vote. Then they did give women the vote, and society took a particular direction. But when men were in charge of things, women didn't have to worry about what they can do with their life because their father took care of it, and then their husband took care of it. But now we live in a brand new world where women can make all of their own decisions. And the path she's chosen, I don't think is any different than most paths women take. I think she's just more honest about it and more upfront about it. If you're going to go to Dubai and meet a girlfriend, and you think she hasn't been fucking for money the entire time she was living in Dubai, then you're an idiot. If you're in Miami and you got girls on your boat and you think they're not fucking for money all of the time, now they may not say per hour, but they'll be fucking a guy they barely like to get the rent paid, or they're fucking a guy they barely like because he has a car.
Yeah.
So women are fucking for money all the time.
So I had to do a thought. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to do a thought experiment once. And I thought to myself, I used to think of myself on some moral high ground because I don't do this kind of stuff. I didn't do this kind of stuff. Like I've never been on a yacht in Dubai. I've never done a lot of this stuff. And I used to really think of myself, I guess you could say on like a moral high ground of some sort. And then one day I thought to myself, I was like, do you know what? I've never been invited to one of those things. It's really easy to say that you're different or special and have your like ego build up when you've never been invited. And then I thought even further about it. And I thought, when you look at in history, if I had to choose historically, if I was in a position, which a lot of women were in the past, where the choice was either death or have sex, do whatever they want in the tribe. Do your morals really kick in? Does that make sense, guys? And I thought about it. And I'm like, all women in the right circumstances would do some pretty depraved things if their life depended. Now, to be fair, Bonnie Blue just does this for money or the love of it. I don't really know. But that's why I kind of stay away from the morality aspect. Because everybody says what they would like to think they would do in those circumstances, but nobody knows what they would do until they were actually in them. Okay, Bonnie Blue, that I would not do. But yeah, anyways, I don't know if I'm making sense, but essentially, it's really easy to say you wouldn't do something. It's really easy to say I wouldn't do what Bonnie Blue does when I don't think I would make the money she makes doing that. I don't know if that makes sense. And I have other options where I don't have to do that. But in the right situation, it's kind of like how many pro-lifers have had an abortion in the past? How many guys, and a lot of the influencers that say they don't cheat, a lot of them cheat on their wives or whatever in the right circumstances. Nobody knows what they're going to do until their back is up against a wall.
Anyway, that's all women do now. The entire Western world is women fucking for money. So how hypocritical would it be for me to sit here and say, Bonnie, who's honest, who monetizes it directly with her own media empire, who's upfront about it and makes money from it, is a worse person than the girl who walks around like she's goody two-shoes and then sucks dick in a Magaluf toilet? Because that's what most girls are doing.
What is Magaluf?
Anyway, Rob, the world's fucked. They're all like this. Rob, they're all the same.
Are you trying to say I'm not special now?
No, I'm saying you're special, actually, because you've gone so far through. You've come out as the queen of it. Congratulations.
But didn't you say this kind of thing is the demise of Western society?
I mean, if I was a misogynist, I would believe this is the final end result of feminism, and the end times are here, and that nobody's going to have kids anymore, and that the idea of a beautiful marriage between a man and a woman is now completely gone. I mean, if I was a disgusting misogynist, but since they keep
But you don't have one beautiful marriage, do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Have you slept with 1,057 women?
At least.
So are you quite similar?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it's the male's prerogative to impregnate as many females as possible. This is the masculine prerogative. This is biologically my prerogative is to do that.
I think we should do a breeding competition. We'll see if you can get a girl pregnant quicker than I can get pregnant.
Well, I mean, that'd be a good competition. I think I'd win. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but it's interesting because it's interesting because you have to look at society. When you look at these things, you have to look at society from an animalistic perspective and a societal perspective. From the animalistic perspective, it is the masculine imperative to get as many women as possible pregnant.
Yeah, but
if you want to be purely
it's
animalistic,
not 1,512.
No, but let's be purely animalistic. Let's talk about this like professionals. If a man is high value, high testosterone, alpha male, whatever you want to call it, right? His imperative is to impregnate women. And he wants to take care of those women and take care of those kids. He's not overly interested in the kids. It doesn't mean he doesn't love them. It means he doesn't want to sit there and play with them all day. When you see a man who wants to play with a baby all day, that man is probably gay. It's fucking boring.
Well, it doesn't mean he wants to fuck the kid.
No, he's gay. He's gay. So real men just want to pregnant, money, cool. See you an hour a week. Boom, boom, boom. Now, there's a lot of men who are going to disagree with me on that, but those are a lot of men I can beat the shit out of, so I don't give a fuck. That's the truth of it. The female imperative is to find a man who's obsessed with her so that when she gets pregnant, she's going to have protection and provision when she's not capable of looking after herself. That is the female biological imperative and the masculine biological imperative. I'm still living to my biological imperative to some degree. If I were to, let's say, have 4 or 5 women and I had kids with 4 or 5 women and I took care of 4 or 5 women and I was with all of them and they were exclusively only with me and we had children over and over and over again, that's my biological imperative. It's actually against the female biological imperative to do what Bonnie is doing, I would argue, traditionally. But that means you break paradigms. That's great. But feminism and society and this brand new societal conditioning is convincing women that what they're supposed to do, which is find a man they love and be obsessed with him and get pregnant from him, is the wrong thing to do. Well, then let's all just become sex workers now.
But you disagree with that feminist purpose.
I don't have an opinion, Rob, because I have 14 criminal cases. I don't have an opinion. I'm just here. I'm a commentator. I'm just commentating.
Commentators have opinions.
I don't have an opinion. No, I don't have an opinion. Women can do whatever they want. Women are fantastic. We live in this great society now where women are girl bosses and better than us, while also are equals at everything, while also everything they do they regret was a man's fault somehow, as Bonnie described. They were tricked into it. So we live in this impossible situation where a man can't possibly win anyway, no matter what opinion he has. But I'm just saying it would be unprofessional and hypocritical of me to sit here and think that Bonnie is doing anything different or anything bad or anything wrong when she does the same thing 99.9% of Western women do anyway.
Okay, so Bonnie...
You get one extreme to the next. You get the women like me that are just sluts, and then you get the others that are lazy and won't even get on their knees and give a blowjob.
And they're sluts too.
To the next.
No, but that's the thing. They're sluts too. They're just sluts for a different guy, or they were sluts for their ex, and they're not sluts for the new guy. These women are sluts too. It's all the same.
But I used to be a full service sex worker, like an escort, and I used to judge men that cheated. And then when I actually started speaking to these men, I was like, you know what? They've got a point. They're going to work. They're looking after their kids. They're still emptying the dishes because the wife's now refusing to do that, saying it should be equal.
Bonnie Blue provides more value to society than most of these women that are not sleeping with their husband and have one, maybe two kids. Bonnie Blue is providing a service to society. I think she is. Now, it's kind of gross, but she has probably saved more marriages than marriage counselors. Sex workers save more marriages than marriage counselors because they offer the men a service, a release, and then they can get back to loving their wife.
And then I say, well, when's the last time she gave you a blowjob? When's the last time she fucked you? They couldn't name it. They couldn't even list the amount of times where they've had sexual intercourse. I'm like, of course you're going to need that. Of course you're going to cheat. So how...
Listen to her. And I know this sounds crazy, but she understands that sex is a need for men. When you have women like Candace Owens who are saying, that they're nagging men because they watch porn. It's like, shut the fuck up, bitch. No, I'm not drunk. Someone in the chat asked if I'm drunk. I'm a little bit sunburnt. I went golfing today for the first time. So I'm a little sunburnt, but no.
How can I ever say women are anything but lazy and poorly educated?
So do you think you're a good role model for women?
I'm a clear example of what women have fought for years. Of
what?
Taking control of your body.
Correct.
Being independent. I earn my own money. I don't rely on a guy. I'm
Girl
paid
power.
Exactly. I'm paid more than other
100%,
guys.
100%.
Do you think
She is a clear example of what women have been fighting for years. Absolutely.
And you have to remember the female hierarchy. Women want to A, have sex with hot men, and B, have the freedom to do whatever they want. Those are the two things women crave. So from her standpoint, she can still have sex with high-level men. Obviously, she has to have sex with a lot of low-level men, but she can still have sex with celebrities and maybe C-list actors. She's going to get hit up by a lot of guys. I know you guys are probably thinking who would want to do that. There's at least one of you in the chat who would. Second thing is, and then she also has the money. She has men's resources and the freedom to do whatever she wants with it. So she won in this. I know. I'm really sunburnt. It's unfortunate.
Correct.
And now they've
I'm not
got it.
going to
They're
sit here and
crying.
lecture you about God. I'm not going to sit here and no, that's all bullshit. She is the clear example of what women have been fighting for years.
Yeah.
Women believe that they can do whatever they want.
do you think they should be able to?
Listen, brother, I have 14 criminal cases. I don't want to be called a misogynist by the BBC. That would break my heart. That's not up to me. We're all individual sovereign people, and we make our own decisions. If women want to run around and do whatever they want to do, it's up to them. My point is, all women, on some scale, are doing what Bonnie Blue is doing. However, Bonnie Blue's just the best at it. She's the best. She's the queen of it. So why? It's
not all women are doing
Let me ask you a
that.
question. If a man walks into Starbucks and steals a chocolate bar, he's a thief. Right? Correct?
Not in London.
Well.
It's legal.
Yeah. And if a banker manages to liquidate a ton of stock illegally in the stock market or rip off a bunch of people with a false investment fund, whatever it is, he's a thief, right? The morality is the same, whether you're stealing from the Wall Street or you're stealing from Starbucks. The morality of it is the same. But people will sit there and argue that the banker is somehow worse than the guy who stole the chocolate bar because of how much he stole. I wouldn't argue there's a difference in morality. There's a difference in capability. But the morality is the same. The banker's just smarter.
I'm just a clever slut.
You're just very...
Now, contrast this with all the women that you call a slut or you call a hoe and they argue and nag and just ruin your life over this. She just says, yep, I am. Now what, bitch? I want to do a sit down with her, actually. I want to peel back the... I don't know. Maybe I don't. One in the chat if you'd like to see it, too, if you wouldn't. Because then the other part of me is like, what does a sex worker have to tell me? You know what I mean?
Good. She is very good at what she's decided to do. If you're going to be a whore, and most women watching this, and most men, hello, your wife, yeah, her, they're all whores anyway. If you're going to be a whore, no disrespect, you may as well be fucking good at it. Get a media empire, get rich, let everyone know your name, and get paid. Why are you going out to the pub, getting drunk, and meeting a man who's funny and getting fucked in a toilet for free? Are you dumb?
They are, though. Women are stupid.
They're stupid. So Bonnie's just the smartest. She's the Wall Street banker of this whole shit. I respect that much more than these other girls. Rob, I grew up in Luton.
Dustin says, I want to be what she sits down on. You would do it, Dustin. That doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all.
England, bruv. You think I don't know hoes? You think I haven't seen it? You think I haven't walked in the toilet and some bitch has got 5 dudes hanging out of her? This is the Western world. This is feminism. This is what all you white boys wanted. All you white men listening to women all the time. Women get to opinions all of a sudden. This is what you built. Congratulations.
So you blame men?
Well, 100% I blame men, because everything's men's fault, because men are the only ones who can apply force to scenario. Women can't apply force. Men apply force. If there's something we don't like, we apply force to the situation. We could force this away. We could force most things away. So everything's absolutely men's fault. And this came from, I mean, the feminism and the women's sexualization and the liberation, a lot of it came from beta males hoping to get some pussy. That's what it came from. Bunch of weak men, though. If we told girls to be hoes, I might get a little bit. Because the natural order of the universe is the big gorilla, top G, smart. I'm so fucking smart. The big gorilla, top G, has a bunch of women, and then the small gorilla has nothing. This is the natural order of the universe. It's actually kind of still like that in many ways. There's a guy with the yacht with 10 wives, and then there's a guy with no yacht with no wife. It's kind of like that. But beta males didn't like that because they couldn't obviously compete with the top guy. So they've tried to push this sexual liberation, hoping to get a little bit of pussy, and it probably works a little bit. But society's destroyed by extension. If you want to look at society for what it is, because what is society anything other than rearing and raising children? That's what society should be, I would argue. Society should be, the primary function of it should be, let's have kids so that we have a population. We have a population collapse in the West.
Yeah, I think they should have a choice. I before used to think, oh my God, I really want kids, I want a family. But it's because I was so naive to what else was open to the world. I just thought, okay, I need to get married. I need to, have children. I need to get a good job. And that was what I thought life was. And then I was like, fuck, there's so much more to life rather than just staying in that, finishing school, going to uni, getting married, buying a house. And you just copy everyone else. Like half the shit we do is.
So again, there's a part of me that admires her to some degree. Not because I envy what she does for a living, but there's something about people that live their life on their own terms, unapologetically, and society cannot influence them, that I don't want to say inspiring when talking about this woman, but that's the word I'm thinking of. That I admire that part, you could say. I knew you guys, I started reading the comments. I knew you guys weren't going to get what I'm saying. Like MGTOW, yeah, MGTOW's another one where they said, oh, this society's not going to shame me into getting married. I'm not going to explain myself. I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm walking away. Gabe says she's virtue signaling. Well, I don't think she's signaling virtue at all. She's called herself a whore the whole time.
Because someone else has done it.
Okay, Bonnie, so let me ask you a question. I agree with you that now that we've opened up female horizons with education, with jobs, with the capability of making money.
They say psychopaths live on their own terms. Not necessarily. I think I've been doing some thinking lately. There's just so much stuff that everyone says you have to do. And it's just why? For what? I was in a space recently with this guy that got banned off of Twitter, and everyone was saying I should talk to him. So I went and said hi. Stefan or something. And I said, he said he got famous because he said that people don't have to have relationships with their parents if their parents are toxic. And it was really controversial at the time. But it's like, if you have a toxic relative, why do you have to take care of them? For why? For what? It's a form of manipulation to see how much they can control you. Says there's a homeless guy in the woods doing his own thing. Yeah, why not? If he's happy being homeless, who cares? Don't celebrate the hoe. Well, I can admire a part of her character while obviously disagreeing. I just don't have time to be morally outraged. And it's great. You know what I mean? I could make more money maybe if I did more of it. And at one point, I did a lot of it, and I really felt like that. But I'm tired, guys. I'm exhausted. And I know what you're probably thinking is, as a streamer, how can you say that? Or as a YouTuber? Okay, you guys are probably more exhausted. But there was just a point where I had done shows for like a year and done these debates. And there was a point where I was talking to a woman about an abortion she had, and I just saw how little she cared. I don't have time to worry, you know. And there was just a point where I had to think to myself, people have a right to live in hell. And sometimes people have to do the wrong thing to get to a point where they learn. And that's part of life. Like, I believe that, so my dad, I didn't really have controlling parents. Like, you know, there were some parents that were super helicopter, and that wasn't my parents. And I asked my parents, I was like, why didn't you guys be more helicopter or whatever? And they said, because if you don't make your own decisions and face the consequences for your decisions, you're never going to know how to make a decision in your life. Now, the challenge we have today is that they don't allow people to have the consequences for their own decisions. But I think a lot of tradcons want to take away people's right to make mistakes and do the wrong thing. Now, I understand if it's hurts somebody else. I don't think murder should be legal, for example. But at some point, it just becomes like a domineering mother and almost neuroticism, where you can't control people and you have to allow them the right to fuck up their life if they so want to, you know.
With Instagram and all these offers they get to fly around the world and all these things, women don't want to have kids, or they want to have kids later because they have a lot more options. I agree with you. But would you argue, if you were to look at it selflessly, not about the ant, but about the ant farm at large, that keeping women's horizons more narrow so they focused on rearing children would be better for society than the current society we're in, where we have to import a whole bunch of fuck knows who's into the country to try and maintain a population because the white people aren't even having any fucking kids because the white women are too busy sucking dicks in Magaloo?
Did you understand that?
To a certain degree, but I also couldn't give a shit. The world's going to shit anyway. So whether or not we've got more kids in it or not, it's fucked regardless. So just live your life the best. You're going to be dead in however many years anyway.
Fair.
So don't stress too much.
Fair. And this is why
I like that mindset. Because, you know what? I have always... There are some decisions of things I did where I regret, right? But I think the pain of not doing something because of fear is worse than the pain of making a mistake. And I'd say when I look back on my life, like, for example, getting demonetized, I kind of got a big ego and I thought that I just couldn't be stopped. And the pain of getting like demonetized and kicked off all these platforms, I would say was not as bad as the pain I would have felt if I didn't push it to the limit, so to speak. Now there's things I could have done to like be smarter about it, but the way she's looking at life, it's unfortunate that what she chose to do with that mindset is have sex with 1,000 men. But people need to care about the next generation. Well, okay. You don't have the time to save the world. And so a couple of years ago, I interviewed a very, very controversial person. I never released this interview because I just didn't want those type of problems, if I'm being honest. But this person was an older guy, and he explained to me his worldview. And from my point of view, his worldview, I understood why he thought the way that he did. He brought facts, he brought evidence, whatever. And by all accounts, maybe he was right. But listening to him, and I saw videos of this guy when he was younger, he was just so much more like coherent and clear. And it was almost like he went crazy because, you know what, guys, doing this stuff kind of makes you a little bit crazy. It's I don't want to complain. It's just part of the job, but you almost like second guess. You might say something that seems normal, but you just second guess it because you're like, am I going nuts? You know, because everyone's screaming at you, you know. But anyways, what it taught me interviewing this guy was even if you're correct, you will go crazy trying to save the world. You'll go insane. It's why, I mean, why do you think those like protesters that get run over by cars? And I've talked to, I know somebody that's gone to some of those protests on the left, and from his worldview, he's saving the planet. He's saving the world. But what I've found is that when you want to save the world, usually something's off in your personal life. Because the most like good and well-rounded people I know, and just balanced, I guess you could say, they're not overly concerned with the world. They're concerned with making their life great and affecting their personal relationships. You know, what's important to them is making sure their kids are good, making sure their friends are good. But a lot of times when people want to save the world, it's because they don't have a lot of close interpersonal relationships. They're saying the narcissists in your life are draining you. It's not necessarily. I wouldn't really say that. It's just, I think when you get older, you get a little more perspective.
Like about Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue is my favorite. This is my favorite.
Yeah, every cult says they're saving the world. And I actually think the most grounded people are the people that don't vote. And they just focus on fixing their life. Now, I've always voted. Well, actually, I think the first election I didn't. But it was because I had finals. I didn't, you know. And I was like, I'm in Illinois. What? I know this is going to go. There's only one that can save the world. Yeah, like Jesus. I mean, Jesus couldn't change people's minds. Who are you? You know? And I didn't interview George Soros, but maybe if you guys join my members only community, I'll show you guys the video. But I'd have to really trust you because I can't, that cannot get out ever. But, you know, Tate's wasted like 3 years of his life on this stuff. Was it really worth it?
I think fair. Because what you just said, I understand and I agree with.
But it's selfish.
But what have I
But
said?
why should I not be selfish? Why should I give a shit about someone else?
But do you know what? Life begins at the black pill. That's what I'll say. Life for me personally, it got way better once I got black pilled, because then it's like you're in the acceptance phase. You're in the phase where, okay, this is the way the world is going and there's nothing that I can do about it. I can do my best to affect change, but in the long run, there's nothing that I can do. How do I move and operate in the way that the world is today? Life begins at that. And you guys don't have to believe me, but life really does begin when you just accept and prepare accordingly.
Who's into the country to try and maintain a population because the white people aren't even having any fucking kids because the white women are too busy sucking dicks in Magaloo.
Did you understand that?
To a certain degree, but I also couldn't give a shit. The world's going to shit anyway. So whether or not we've got more kids in it or not, it's fucked regardless. So just live your life the best. You're going to be dead in however many years anyway.
Fair.
So don't stress too much.
Fair. And this is what I like about Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue is my favorite. This is my favorite everything. Fair. Because what you just said, I understand and I agree with.
But it's selfish.
But what have I
But
said?
why should I not be selfish? Why should I give a shit about someone else that pays less tax than me, has, sits and complains, makes shitty TikToks about me? Like, I couldn't give a shit if your life's going shit. By the looks of it, you live in a council house, you've got a couple of kids with different dads. I don't care. So why should I sit there and think, fuck, I should do something to help you? I don't care. I should focus on myself. And if more people did that, the world would actually be a better place. But they become so fixated on other people. I'm like...
And I actually agree with that. I agree. Because what are my choices here? I can spend, time bitching about Bonnie Blue, or I can think, okay, how can I be a better... Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm learning piano right now. So I'd really like to get good enough to the point where I could play gigs. And I've been putting so many hours into this. Like I do lessons pretty much every day for like 2 hours. Hour piano, hour guitar. And that's selfish, right? That's focusing on me. But if I get really good, I'd really love to go to like old folks' homes and like play for an hour. Do you know what I mean? I'd love, like, I love old people. They're hilarious. Or I'd love to, like, if there's a wedding in my family or something, play at one. Now you have a musician in the family. And sometimes by focusing on yourself, in the long run, you're able to help other people later. Yeah, integrity is its own. And I'm not saying to do the wrong thing, but the world is going to try to extract as much, and not as much, especially for you men. They try to extract as much out of you and give you nothing in return. So...
Where's your life? Why are you not focusing on yourself? Like, look in the mirror, you're fat, go and do something about it. Your teeth have that much plaque on it. Like, you're fucked. Like, there's no way out for you.
No, but what
Is this a good role model?
No, yes, because what Bonnie's saying is important here, and it's not about what she's saying. It's about the general attitude. Because what I want to make clear, the reason society was run by men for so long is that men have a different biological instinct to women, and we're prepared to suffer for the greater good. Women are not very good at suffering. Men are good sufferers.
Look back at the wars. There's so much evidence of it.
Well, of course. And also, let's just look at the normal family. You talked about these men who come and see you, right?
Yeah.
But happy wife, happy life is true. And the reason it's true is because if the wife is unhappy, everyone's miserable because she'll make sure of it. But if the man's unhappy, everyone else can be happy. He'll suffer. He'll sit with no sex. He'll go to work every day.
Yeah.
He won't see his friends. He'll be miserable. He'll be depressed. He'll still pay the bills. He'll still pay the taxes. And everyone else gets to be happy. Men are good at suffering. Women are spiteful sufferers. And for that reason, they struggle to do anything. They struggle to suffer themselves for any greater good. Men have always died for a greater good. Men have always said, this is bad for me, but it's good for society. Bonnie just quite correctly.
Right, but the difference is now society doesn't reward the right thing. And we're looking at, honestly, by looking at this conversation, we're looking at the epitome of it. Tate, I mean, he got rich through cam work. And I like Tate. I think Tate's a good person. But you could argue that the way he got rich was an immoral way. And the same with Bonnie Blue. women that do the immoral thing get free trips. They get to go on yachts. They get crazy experiences. Where women that arguably do the right thing, you may say in the long run, they're more fulfilled. But in terms of the thing women value, which is like celebrities, excitement, money, that sort of thing, they're not rewarded for doing that.
Quite pertinently highlighted the fact that she believes in living her life the best way that she wants to live so she is happy. And I agree with you. That's what you should do. That's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, can you, Palma, we need another female for our intramural team. Oh, it's in Chicago? Maybe. What the problem is I do this show at night. What time is it at? But I'd love to play. I love playing.
That's how women think. Women don't think I shouldn't do this because I care about society by and large. Women don't think that. And once you understand that logic, you can extrapolate that out to the fact that women shouldn't be in charge of a country ever, because women are not prepared to take a bullet for a country ever.
I mean, I guess I contradict myself a little bit because I help society out a lot. And I do that because do you see how many dicks I drain? How many balls I've been emptied out on my face? How many cream pies I've taken and scooped it out?
And how does that help society?
Sex workers help reduce rape rates by over 30%.
That sounds like a stat you just made up.
No, Google it.
Yeah, that's probably true. Mental health, it's good for mental health as well.
The true fact is 32%.
Yeah, stops men killing themselves, sex work. Sex work's an important part of the world.
So imagine if you're
Are you
a
saying that because
rapist.
you had a webcam business?
I'm not saying that because I had a webcam business. I'm saying that because it's absolutely not really true. The only point I was making earlier about women being in charge, I was actually trying to get to a final point. And the final point, I would argue, is that Bonnie has done no damage to society compared to giving the women the vote.
I've basically been a community worker.
Absolutely.
For example,
I agree. I completely agree. Men need sex. There's always been hookers. That's the way the world is.
Do you vote?
Not to be honest, I don't really know what's going on in the world.
Okay, so do you vote?
No.
Okay, she's perfect. she's out here. She's sucking dick.
I am wife material.
She's sucking dick. She's not voting. This is the kind of women we need. This is done. This is fine. If we stop women, we take the women's vote away. If you said to me, Andrew, fix society, all the women can either vote or be like Bonnie. I'd be like, make them all like Bonnie, give the men the vote back. We'll fix all country.
Even your daughter.
Yeah. Why would she need to vote? I'm voting. Why would she need to vote when I'm voting? You're going to vote against your father. What kind of world is that? You know, it's really interesting to me. Since I had daughters, and I have a bunch, people always said, when you get a daughter, you're going to change your opinions. No, I fucking didn't. When you have a daughter, you see these dudes and they have a daughter and the daughter's putting makeup on and they're like, girl dad. Just because you have a girl doesn't mean you become gay.
I think that's cute though.
I'm never going to she's never going to put makeup on my face. I'm never going to be like, oh, my daughter wants, so I guess I just
You sound like a farmer.
She melts my heart. No, you're going to obey me because I am your parent and you are my child. My child can't vote against me ever. That's civil war. That's against the rules that's against the just working of the universe, sir. For me to have a certain opinion and my own offspring to have countering opinion. Then I'm going to be sitting at some fucking dinner table in 20 years. And my daughter or my sons, any of them, are going to be there arguing with me about anything. Actually, in school, I learned, you better shut the fuck up. You're in my fucking house.
Yeah, he doesn't have as much influence as he thinks, unfortunately. The only upside is he could take away money from the daughters, but women can go make their own money now and be whores.
My mansion, it's to Tate millions. You're living on my money. You're going to do as I fucking say.
Until they're 18 or they move out?
If they want to completely cut me off and build their own version of life, I guess they could do that, but they won't do that. That's impossible.
It's how you bring them up. Like when they're 18, yes, they're an adult, but it's how you've brought them up.
Of course.
Like my parents brought me up.
Do you have kids though?
No, I don't.
No.
But like my parents, I mean, everyone says my parents can't love me. My family must have disowned me. It's not the case. My family brought me up to be independent and live my best life, how I want to live. And as much as people think that is so shameful, that's disgusting, like my life's become so much better and I'm happy. As much as people think I should be scarred, could kill myself and everything else, it's like, I am happy. I genuinely live a much better life. So my family are nothing but proud of me. So
Are you really happy?
Really, really happy. Happy and wet
when you're
most of the
alone,
time.
you're happy.
She's not voting. She's great. This is what we need. Do you want to be prime minister or not really?
No.
See, Done, bro. This is it. This is what we need in society. Honest about their sex work, because all women out here are sex working anyway. When's the last? You've been in Dubai recently.
Yeah.
Find a woman who ain't sex working. That is a challenge, sir. $1 million to find a woman who ain't living off a man. Because that is sex work. You giving sex and she's giving you money. That's the game. I tweeted
It's actually
this.
so true. I've never thought of it like that.
I tweeted
When
this.
people are boyfriend and girlfriends, the
It's
majority of
sex
the
work.
time they do a low-paid job, they've not got the education to do anything better. So, and they're having sex with the partners, keep them interested. The partner's paying the bills. It's a sex work with one client. Just like you said.
100%. I said this. I tweeted it and the whole world lost its mind because you know me. I'm a provocateur. But I said, yeah, women are sex workers. You can either have a bunch of customers with OnlyFans or you can have one customer called a husband or boyfriend. Or you can be ugly. And unfortunately, then you got to get a job. But if you're pretty enough, you don't do that. You find a boyfriend or a husband or a sugar daddy, whatever you want to call him, and he's paying your bills. Go to Saint-Tropez, Monaco, Cannes, go to Miami, go to Dubai, go to Hong Kong, go to any of these cities and find a beautiful woman and ask her job. She either doesn't work because her boyfriend takes care of her, or she has some bullshit vanity project which loses money that her husband pays for. Owns a flower shop that loses money each month. Great. Businesswoman. Independent. Bullshit. Women are only ever been sex workers. Women have only ever translated their pussy into money, or pussy into provision, or pussy into protection. That's all women have ever done. Let's talk about the ancient days. When the ancient whoever's, the tribe, got conquered by another tribe. You're sitting around, there's 100 men, there's 100 women, the 100 men go out to war, they lose, the conquering tribe comes and takes over the ground, takes over the women. What do the women do?
Yep. And that's why I said earlier, you like to think you're different or you have morals, but people don't really know what they would do until their back's up against a wall. And even me, I mean, there's been, you know, a lot of people would call me like brave for saying the stuff I said or that I say. And I actually think a lot of it was just me not really understanding the long-term ramifications. And I just don't really have a filter. So
Here's some pussy, don't kill me. Please.
It's not
That-
1,500 anymore.
No, but it doesn't matter. That's all they've ever done. And I'm telling you now, you know you watch Hunger Games and there's fucking cat.
like, I think people that think they have morals tend to be worse people than people that think they don't. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but as soon as you start thinking you're like a good person or a bad person, or that you're like more like their ego, and this is, you see this in church, their ego gets like hyped up on thinking that they're moral. So I almost think like half the time people that claim they have morals are people that like don't go out and live life, and they just live life from like inside. They don't go out and kiss the girl. They don't go out and go for the guy they want. They don't go get the job they want. They don't, it's like they live like a lesser version of life. That makes sense.
Ness Evergreen run around with her bullshit fucking bow and arrow. When World War III finally comes, you're just going to see a whole bunch of women hooking. That's all they're going to do. They're like, shit, World War III, I need money. I need a man who can protect me. Here's some pussy. Anyone? That's
Oh,
what they're gonna do.
I would have fucked Hitler to survive.
Oh, damn, of course. Women will fuck anyone to survive. Look at France in World War II. You hear about the war brides? They all had their heads shaved. You know about this? Oh, you didn't know. I'll tell you. The Nazis kicked the fuck out of all the French. Then the Nazi soldiers turn up to Paris. Nazi soldiers have money. Average French man, he either lost in war, lost a leg, and has no money. He's a brokey. The Nazi guy, he's got money. He's got the German Deutschmark. He's got a nice uniform. He's a winner. All the French women were fucking the Nazis. They killed their husband. They're fucking the next guy a year later. Why? Because he can provide. He can protect. They give him status. They get to go out and party.
July 12th? Maybe actually. Is it fours? Is it doubles or fours, sixes? What am I playing? What position?
They all had their heads shaved afterwards once the Americans kicked the Germans out of France.
I would have been bold straight away.
Well, there you go. This is what women do. Women say, okay, let me look at the work. I'm not as strong as a man. I'm not as determined as a man. I'm not as intelligent as a man. I can't do any of these things.
Okay, and see, this is, you guys in the chat, you're proving my point. That they get this ego. And I never understood the ego of like religious people. Every religious person thinks they're right. So every religious person is convinced their religion was right. And I remember when I was younger, I would think, well, how are you so convinced? Have you read every single biblical book? I mean, there's people that have been studying this for 50 years and like they'll change their opinion 2 or 3 times. And there's some people that they're so convinced that they're like a good person. And half the time they're shitty people, or I don't perceive them to be any more moral than other people. And the most moral people I know, they're not really worried about being a good person. They just are good and they don't have to signal it like at all. But it's always the people that are always signaling that they're good people. They're always the worst people.
Men can do. What's the one differentiator I have? Pussy. So let me turn my pussy into what I want. That's not a bad thing. That's just understanding the world, right?
Do you think this is a positive message for society?
I'm not here giving any messages. I am a commentator, sir.
I tell you, if anything, it's factual.
I'm a
commentator, sir. I see the I'm not playing football.
Oh, fours? Can the men hit front row? Because it's co-ed? Maybe. I prefer girls, but co-ed isn't bad either, but I just don't want to get hit in the face. That's always my concern with co-ed. But July 12th, what day of the week is that? What time?
Commentating on the game.
Pearl's attacking religiosity. What's your, because it's because when people identify with a religion, they identify with a group. And when a group forms, I know this sounds crazy. This sounds so nuts. But whenever a group forms, then groups are subject to group behavior, which is the same thing. It's the 20% of men and the women get in there. They manipulate everything. And then the men do things to impress the women. The simping starts. And then it just becomes like a money laundering scheme that the women pay for. Not money laundering, but like the women are paying the bills in the church, then they start catering. And it's like every religion I've noticed always succumbs to this, like always. And if you the best quality and like character of people I know, or I have noticed, seem to be people in the middle of nowhere. Like they have this refreshing, like it's almost like a blank slate individuality of them. This sounds kind of crazy, but like farmers, they're always married longer. And I think it's because farmers are kind of in their own community, like they're like in their own family. They almost like build their own world. And I've just noticed that the farmers, or you'll get these people in these remote places and they just have this like clarity. But social media gave us bigger groups, right? And then society started to downfall. Cities, it's like you see like a lower moral high ground, and then society starts to, I just see the same pattern with religion. I know, now they get mad. The religious people get mad. But it's like, if that wasn't true at all, why are you mad? Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing can hit if it doesn't ring true at all.
That's all I'm doing.
And people are listening to you.
Well, they're listening to me commentate. I'm telling everyone how it works.
Everything we've said you'd learn in history at school. Everything we're saying is factual. We're not
what
just
would you
saying,
learn in history at school about?
Well, I didn't really listen
sleeping
too
with
much at
people?
school, but yeah, I learned at school that people had their head shaved.
Yep.
Like you learn about what happened at the
course.
war, and that happened. That's factual. You didn't ever learn at school, oh, the women went to war. No, of course they didn't. They stayed at home. They cooked. They had the house ready. Like it stayed the same. Everything was.
No, I said cities were less moral. If I said more moral, I do that sometimes. I swap words. I meant less. Like people in the middle of nowhere, they always seem more like mentally clear. And I think it's because then people start caring about who's popular in the group. and just all the group dynamics come in. And people that tend to be like more on their own, they have like this mental clarity.
And it's
Yeah, like Rob, what have I said that's incorrect? And the reason I'm saying all these things is to highlight how it's awfully hypocritical for anybody in modern Western society, anybody who believes in women's liberation, anyone who believes women should be allowed to vote, anyone who believes in women are allowed to lead a country, anyone who listens to their wife's stupid opinions on anything, to give Bonnie a second of hard time. Because it's all the same thought pattern. It's all the same thought process. If you're a man who says, I have a wife and we got married when she was a virgin and she doesn't vote and she obeys me absolutely and I'm the king of this household.
So you're saying I'm making excuses for Bonnie Blue. I don't think so. I don't condone what she's doing. But I sure as hell think she's more useful than these nagging, bitchy, fat wives who don't blow their husbands, which is most of them. I think she's better than them. Sorry, I do.
Then maybe you could have an opinion. But if you're going to sit there and go, oh, my wife has a past, but I love her anyway, then fucking shut the fuck up. And that's 99% of men. Rob, do you understand that about 3 times a week I see a woman I've plowed get married on Instagram? Do you understand? I see it. I see the man walking down the aisle holding her hand, doing the whole humiliation ritual. I see the whole thing. He got on one knee. And I just watch it. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though.
No, but there is.
But why? Like,
because I know what happened that night.
but people
So
have
it
got
is.
fucked.
Well, aren't you under investigation for things like that?
Give a fuck. But the point is this. If that man's going to go, everyone has a past, then who is he to comment on anything else? Because her past was me, sir.
So are all of your girlfriends virgins before you?
Well, here's where you have to, as a man, do your best to find a woman, if you want to take her seriously, with as little history as possible, if that's the kind of thing that bothers you.
And does it bother you?
Well, it depends.
I mean,
Because-
surely your best place to go then is high school.
Well, we have to be careful. I'm under investigation here. But it depends because there's different categories of women. Mm-hmm. Right? Everything in life is actually fine if you keep everything in the right place. If you use a fork.
I don't think Bonnie is the same thing as a drug dealer. Because I don't think sex is the equivalent. Like, I don't think if a guy has sex with Bonnie Blue, he might not cheat on, well, he might have that release for like a week or whatever, you know. I mean, I know it's faster than that, but heroin hooks people for life, you know. Like, I just don't think a guy seeing a hooker and the effects on a guy seeing a hooker and a dealer is the same thing.
For forking and a spoon for spooning, everything's fine. It only gets confusing when you try and mix the two up. All men love whores. Men love whores.
We've got good technique.
Of course. Any man who sits there and says...
Do you love whores then?
Any man who says he doesn't love whores is a fucking liar.
So you love whores?
Well, if I'm on a boat in Miami, I don't want
Would you
nuns.
prefer a blowjob with your teeth or the mouth? You need someone with experience.
Well, if you want girls who are just a good time, they're not going to be that emotionally invested. They're probably going to be sluts. If you're going to go to a party with 20 women, you want women who are just a good time. Good time women are hoes and men love hoes. But men want the dichotomy because we want our cake and eat it. We want a wife and we want hoes and we want both. Mm. It only gets confusing for a man when he puts them in the wrong category. What will happen is a man will meet a hoe, fall in love with her because he can't control himself, and then try and say, oh, no, she's wifey because he's in love with her because he's an idiot. But if you're me and you can sit and go, okay, that one's a good one. She's wifey. Those are the hoes. They're this. And you just keep everything in its right place. It's fine.
So Bonnie's a hoe?
I don't want to insult Bonnie Blue.
You can't insult me.
I mean, you called her a hoe when I last talked to you.
No, I said she was a whore. And
I said, what's the difference between a hoe and a whore?
Well, there is a big difference because whores get paid. And whores are actually a much higher social standing than a hoe because hoes are fucking dumb and they're doing it for free.
Yeah.
Whores make money. So I think she's
I didn't
a whore.
know that difference.
Well, now you do.
Now I do.
I always say
So-
people can call me a prostitute, slut, slag, whore, whatever. I don't care. Like, you just can't insult me. Like, I own it. Whatever word you want to call me, whether you
But
say
it's not even insulting. It's just a factual description.
Yeah.
It's a factual description.
If anything, it turns me on.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's why she's so good at her job.
By the time you finish calling me a whore, I'm going to leave this chair with a wet patch.
Well, there you go. That's why she's so good at her job. I have that effect anyway. But the point I'm making here is any man who sits and goes, oh, I hate whores, I hate hoes, that's all a fucking lie. There's scenarios in which they're very welcome and very liked, but there's scenarios in which they're not. So everyone has their standing in life. Everyone has their place in life.
Yeah.
Bonnie, even I would argue, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but you can correct me. Bonnie will have sex with one man, or have sex with a certain type of man, or have sex with whoever, but she'd marry a different type of man. To marry someone is different than having sex with someone. You wouldn't just marry anyone, would you? You'd have to kind of like him.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be completely different. Like, I generally have sex with anyone of legal age, but if I'm thinking of marriage, it's completely different.
Okay, so even in Bonnie's mind, there are people she treats a certain way and respects in a certain way, and there's people she has sex with without any emotional attachment. That's exactly how it is as a man. There's a woman you'll treat a certain way and have a certain amount of feeling for, and there's women you just fuck. That's it. So everything's actually fine. Men saying they hate whores and they hate all this, that's all a fucking lie. Men love whores in the right scenario. So you're asking me, my girlfriends. Well, I mean, it depends. If you catch me on a boat, if you catch me on my yacht with 25 women, are they all virgins? Fuck no. But do I have children from some virgins? Yes.
If you ever host a virgin party, count me in.
How would you get into a virgin party?
Well, no, but I'll be there to take the virginities. I'm obsessed with it.
Why are you obsessed with taking boys' virginities?
Well, just like how Andrew likes 18-year-old.
Wait. Careful. Careful now.
Sorry, should I go
I'm
younger?
under investigation. What I have said.
Andrew, 18 is a legal age. I don't know what you class as legal.
No,
but
18 is legal. You're right.
Yeah.
But the reason, actually, and it's interesting you said this, but the reason men prefer younger women is because they have less history. That's why.
Yeah.
The average 22-year-olds live less life than the average 30-year-old. That's why men prefer younger women in general. But sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just clarifying because
See, do you see how she doesn't try to talk over him? I have this problem. But that's how sex workers make men fall in love, is because she's more feminine than most of the tradcon women.
he gets clip farmed, and before you know it, I'm back in handcuffs.
No, not 18, 19. But I'd happily take an 18-year-old on their birthday, like
Why?
closer to 18. I just want them, to be young, innocent. I want to strip them from that. I want to take
steal
their
their
innocence.
innocence.
I want to watch
Like
their
Shang Tsung.
toes curl up as they come for the first time from a girl. Like, I love that. And I also think it's educational. So I'm obsessed
How's
with
it educational?
You think about sex education at school. It's from a middle-aged teacher that's not been laid. And they basically say you have sex, or you're probably going to die from an STD. There's no information. If anything, they should whip up one of my DVDs, put it on screen. No, look, that's how the dick enters the pussy. This is how you get a girl wet. There's none of that. So me having sex with them shows this is a woman's body. Yes, a woman's, Andrew, not trans. And
I don't think you're trans.
and
We'll come to that.
they don't know how to pleasure a girl. They've not touched a girl. They've just watched videos, online.
Robert had a question. He said she could have banged a rich wanker. No, why would a decent looking girl do this? Well, Rob, if she gets a rich guy, she has to give up freedom. And in girl world, that's why women love Taylor Swift. They love Kim Kardashian, because it's women that got the ultimate freedom and still got the high value guy. Now, will Kim Kardashian stick the landing? I doubt it. Taylor Swift, it looks like she might, but that's why she wouldn't do it, because then she would have to give up her freedom and she'd have to listen to someone. Now, are you going to tell me what time is this tournament?
These slapping, these choking, these hair pulling, and then they go to do it on a woman or a girl for the first time.
That's
She's probably
terrible.
like cry rape the next day.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a criminal charge of that. Probably
Yeah.
get sued if that happens.
Probably need to talk from experience there, but like with me, I love educating them. Like, they've never fingered a girl before. They've never.
So you
learnt what
educate
they
your
like.
guys when you sleep with them?
Not all the time. Some of them are in their 80s and their wife's dead. Like, they've been having sex for years, but some of them are 18 and haven't lost their virginity. They haven't been having sex. So I love lying there and saying, look, do whatever you want to me, trial and error. And if anything, I'm protecting women, because then the next girl they sleep with, they know how to choke properly, they know how to slap, they know how to fuck, and they know how to pleasure her. And also, I give them such a safe environment. Like, I mean, if you had an 18-year-old son, would you send him to me on his 18th birthday?
No.
So serious. Okay, so your son will probably lose his virginity after going to a club. He's probably been drinking, the girl might have done drugs. You then go back to some hotel or
I
parents'
don't
house,
think
whatever.
I'm raising him that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
but regardless.
What about if he falls in love and loses his virginity to someone he loves?
And what if the world becomes a really happy place? You're talking, it's unrealistic.
That's the best bar she had the whole time. Yeah, because that's an ego death. The trads, they're like, I want this idealistic world. And they're like, nope, it's not idealistic. Let's be realistic.
When people lose their virginity, it's probably after a night out.
So it's more realistic. I send my son to you.
Yeah.
Who slept with 1,000.
Are you saying, Rob, that your children are going to do what you want? Is
On
that
your
what you're trying to
18th,
say?
on his 18th
Because
birthday,
they're independent people, Rob.
They are.
No, they can
They
make
Now
their
he's
own decisions,
controlling it.
Rob.
They
Don't
can.
come out with that crap.
But
Well,
when you
I think my kids are. You don't have kids, and I think my
No.
kids are older than your kids. So de facto, I think I've got a bit more experience in being a dad. Because
On his
everyone
18th
talks.
That's the other thing. So trads always think they know more because they've been married and have children. But they're usually the biggest victims of like a really bad divorce or, they're usually the biggest simps, married guys. Yeah.
Talks about how it is until their kids actually do disobey them, which they do.
No, they won't.
Right, Rob, on your
Yeah, he's right about that. Kids do disobey their parents.
son's 18th birthday, I'll be stood on the driveway with a balloon and a happy birthday card.
That's funny.
I'll take his virginity, but I'll take him to a safe, controlled environment. I'm not going to cry rape the next day. I'm STD tested. I can educate him on a body. So the next girl he sleeps with, because if that's the girl he falls in love with, she's going to want a good shag. She's going to want to be pleasured. She's want to walk away from it and go, fuck, that was good. Yeah, I want to see him again. I want to stay loyal to him because he was amazing in the bedroom.
Rob, you should do it.
Do you really believe this?
Rob, do
Yeah.
it.
Okay, would you send your son to Bonnie, age 18 birthday?
I don't need to, but you need to.
I don't need to.
Yes, you do.
Are you judging me, Andrew?
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying that, like,
Andrew, I
I'll
think
tell you why married men are simps. I consider a simp is a guy that worships women, a guy that lives life on his woman's term, or a guy that accepted a bad deal. Unfortunately, most married guys are paying way more for something that other guys got for free. It's kind of simpy. It is. Most married guys are simps. They are. They can be good men. It doesn't take away from what they've accomplished, but yeah, it can be simps.
father and son as well.
do you?
Yeah.
No, thanks. But,
Brother and brother?
No,
Bit of double
no way.
penetration?
no way.
Well, you need to find out if I'm trans. I think you and your brother, double penetration, then you'll know the truth.
Okay, first things first. You're not trans, and I knew you weren't trans. 100%.
Is that because you've had multiple wanks?
No, it's just 100% you're.
Or is
you're
that
not
because
trans.
you left this?
The wife should be a virgin. Yeah, again, it's should. Should equals wish list. I wish women didn't vote. I wish my wife was a virgin. Wish, wish, wish. It won't happen.
My last event. Oh, you don't want to touch it? I thought you might be thirsty. You want to rinse it for cum?
Bonnie. Bonnie. I knew you weren't trans. However,
Yeah.
I would argue that a lot of the men who fuck you are gay.
No, it can be intimidating, though, for guys.
No, it's not about intimidation. They are gay.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Because
Their dick is entering a pussy.
there's too much male DNA all around that scenario. The reason I find female promiscuity, by and large, for my
Yeah.
personal sexual appetite, quite disgusting, is because I don't like the thought of other men anywhere near what I'm going to fuck. I'm
Yeah.
so not gay that I don't like that there have been men there.
Thank you for the super chat. You guys are so nice. Thank you. It's very nice of you.
Except if you're on a boat with 25 of them.
Well, if that's whoreland. When you're if you're in whoreland, it's whoreland. You
So
don't
that's
care.
the fork box, not the spoon box.
I guess you could argue that, yes. My point is, if I was going to take a woman seriously, the idea of another man being near her, I find repulsive. And I find it repulsive because the idea of the man repulses me by and large.
Yeah.
Any man who's happy to have sex with that many other men, when there's that much other male DNA in the room, I would argue has a streak of homosexuality to some degree. I would argue that those
Yeah.
men are gay. Now, you're not trans, but I don't think a straight man wants to fuck a pussy that's had 10 dicks in it, or 20 dicks in it, or 50 dicks in it.
What about 1,057?
Well, I don't know. Maybe these men are just bi, or I don't know. Maybe they're desperate. You can argue lots of things. You
See,
know?
I don't agree, but I do get where you're coming from. Like some of these guys, especially 6 hours in, they come to me. It's the floor's like an ice rink. There's that much cum on there. My face, I'm barely recognizable. Like my hair is slicked back. My eyes are full of cum. Like my whole body is so slippery from cum. And yet they still come, they kiss me, they touch me. And I think, fuck, what if they don't want to touch me because I'm covered in another guy's cum? And when I do the gangbangs and there's a lot of men together, I have security in that room. A lot of people assume that security's for me. It's not. It's for the other guys because I'm always concerned, like, fuck, if another guy comes and it hits another guy, I don't want a fight to break out. I don't want them to be like, oh, that's gay, don't touch me. So there's always security when I do these events, but it's predominantly for the guys because I'm scared a fight's going to break out because they think it's gay.
That's so gross.
And you respect this profession.
I understand the profession. The profession has been around for a very long time. I respect the honesty, actually.
Somebody's got to do it. I don't look at either we force women to marry young, put a gun to their head and say, marry young, or hookers come. Pick one.
What I said. But yeah, I think the men who turn up to these events are gay by and large. I think they're at least bi. Because I think that if you're a straight man, you don't really want to be near other kind of men's genitals. And time in and of itself, we should resurrect Einstein and get him in this conversation. He'll tell you more about it than me. But, you know, time's all happening at once, they say. And that, you know, it's not linear like we believe. And there's another dimension where everything happens at once. Have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Cool. So if you fuck her after she's been fucked, you're fucking her the same time she is being fucked, and the dick is in there with your dick, and it's all happening in one big fucking time warp of jizz. And it's better if you're just nowhere near it. If you just don't go anywhere near it.
This conversation is getting me really wet.
Well, this is the thing. Well, I'm sure that when I see your next event, time warp of jizz, I expect a cut. But so for me, you know, women say this. Oh yeah, but it was before I met you. I don't give a fuck if it was before you knew my name. You got fucked, and that's disgusting. And that offends me now. You cheated on me before.
No guy takes sloppy seconds. Well, then you must be as delusional as these women because you're all taking sloppy seconds. Are you dating virgins? No. Statistically, you're not. And if you are, statistically, she's done backdoor or blown somebody. You're all taking sloppy seconds. Sorry, not sorry. That's what it is.
I met you. That is terrible.
Is that not your insecurity?
Well, that's perfect word. So people call it insecurity.
I'm not against arranged marriages, but we either arrange the marriages or hookers come. That's pretty much it.
You got onto my...
Yeah, Nia, facts. Yeah, can we just... I understand the trad stuff. You grow to hate it at some point. You grow to hate it because you realize it wastes years of people's life. Years. Years of my life. Years of people I know's life. Years.
It's almost like you can read my mind, bro. People call it insecurity. They say,
She's got 1 inch.
Bring back chastity belts. Do you live under a rock? How would we bring that back? Again, that's wish list.
The other guys are going to have bigger dicks.
Well, people call it insecurity and people call it lots of things. But truthfully, what it is heterosexuality. And any of these men who go, oh, yeah, I don't mind her being covered in...
Yeah, 10 years of my life. The trads, even as a woman, I wish I could... Someday... I always got to be careful of the things I say publicly. I wish I could tell you how that wasted my life, but it's wasted women's lives, men's lives. It does not work in 2025. Guys will do or say anything to get their rocks off, and they do not care about any of the peripherals surrounding it.
They need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and probably get an AIDS test because they're gay. And that's fine. I mean, some people are gay. But you can be gay. You can have gay sex with a woman. Of course you can.
Sloppy seconds in the same occasion. How do you know? How do you know what she was doing before she saw you? You don't. So there was a guy in the chat that said, I'd rather take an honest whore than one that lies. That's not true. It's not. Men want to be lied to.
I mean, the point of having sex with a woman is to get her pregnant. By and large. I'd argue that being horny in general is kind of gay. To be like, I'm so horny. Like, I'm a full-grown man. I'm so horny. I'm so horny. Like, who?
Yeah, but to me, gays fucking another guy is.
No. Gays doing gay shit, bro. Gays having sex with a woman without the intention of impregnating her, having sex with a woman who's covered in cum, fucking all this is just gay sex. It's all gay. Have sex with a woman and have a child.
Okay, that's stupid. It's gay if you don't want to have a kid. That's stupid. Do you know what's so funny? The people I know that had the most kids tell other people not to have as many kids. And the people that did not have as many kids tell everybody to have a bunch of kids? Or do things in a very unconventional way?
You only have sex on ovulation day.
It's not about that, but there has to be a
Okay, so you're
chance.
gay.
There has to be a chance of a child arriving.
But what about on your boat with 25 hoes?
Who says I even fuck them? You think, Rob, this is what I mean. You're so
then there's
you're
the
so
fork and the
trapped in the
spoon.
Matrix. You're so trapped in the
I
Matrix.
think you're judging me, Andrew.
No, you think
You know
think
I'm not
I'll get
trapped
20
in the. You know I'm not trapped in the
You
Matrix.
think I'll get 25 whores on a boat and then be like, yeah, let me fuck them? No, I just want 25 whores on my boat because it's like I want whores on my boat. I want trees in my forest. They're just there because I've got a boat.
That is.
I've got a boat and there's women on my boat and they're all beautiful and everyone's jealous of me while I sit there. And even though they all annoy me and I don't even want to fuck them, I just sit on my laptop. But that's just life. It's not even about fucking. It's not about the sex. You're thinking about sex.
The women that get married young tell other women not to get married young. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because oftentimes, and this is going away because of social media, but the women that get married young don't often get the best guy they could get. Now, you could argue it's immoral for women, but like to do that, but women's priority or prerogative is to get the best guy that they could get. If they cash out on their hometown, you're usually not going to get the best guy in your hometown.
It's beyond sex. Nothing to do with sex.
Unless you're
That's the strategy anyways. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you. And they give up freedom to become the person they want to be because if you want to be a whore or get into a certain hobby or whatever, you're not going to have time to do that if you marry young. And then you have to give up freedom, so.
you're having sex in ovulation, then you're gay. Because then that's the only way a girl's...
You think the trends will flip 20 years from now? There's no evidence that that's going to happen. Okay, 20 years ago, that they said traditionalism. 10 years ago, I heard Ben Shapiro say traditionalism was coming back. Thank you for wasting 10 years of my life, Ben. I'm honest here. I'm honest.
Even really is around ovulation.
Well, my point is that if there is a slight chance, and there's always a chance.
Very, very slim, though.
Okay, but if there's a chance...
So, okay, you're 50%
If
gay.
there's a chance of a baby appearing,
Yeah.
then I would argue that that is pretty heterosexual sex because heterosexual sex leads to babies. What is the
Also, hit the like button, guys. Thank you for the super chat. Did I read this already? Oh, yeah, guys, we'll do it. Thank you, Sean. That was really nice.
differentiator between
you.
heterosexual and homosexual sex? The primary differentiator between the two is offspring. So if you're having sex that cannot possibly lead to offspring in any way, that is gay sex.
Yeah, but who's...
If you're fucking a girl in the ass, you're gay. Why? If you're turning up with a condom and fucking a woman on birth control, you're gay.
Do you do
If
anything
you're-
for pleasure?
if
Do
you're-
you do anything just for
If
fun?
you're a white
Andrew?
man who gets his fucking balls cut open, I know white boys who voluntarily get vasectomies. They voluntarily have their dick chopped to pieces just to make sure they don't accidentally have a beautiful child. Like, how fucking gay can you be? This is all gay sex.
That's a stupid thing to say. No offense, Andrew, but I've seen men that have lost everything because they got the wrong woman pregnant. I can see exactly why men would want to avoid that.
If I have sex, there's a chance of a kid. That's the life I live. That's the man I am. If the kid comes as a blessing from God, good. If no kid comes, fine. That's how it is.
How do you
But if you were to say to me, Andrew, you can come have sex here, and there's no chance of there ever being a kid. It's just for fun.
There's always a
I would
chance,
say,
though.
sorry, I'm not gay.
Condoms aren't 100% reliable. So that day, someone did have a 0.01% chance of impregnating me.
But they're trying to not have a kid.
Well, how do you know? Did you ask him?
Well, if you have a condom on, you're trying not to have a kid.
Who said I didn't put a pin in it?
The man
Why is Aaron Clary pissed?
putting the condom on his dick is trying to not have a kid. The realest nigger there would turn up and say, listen, I'm going to impregnate Bonnie Blue. You all keep the condoms on. Fuck it. I'm having a baby out of this bitch because I ain't fucking for free. So let me get a kid at least. I mean, you got money to look after it. You can just block you on WhatsApp. You can raise it. That's free. That's free progeny. These people ain't thinking right.
Do you do anything just for fun?
Loads of stuff.
Like what?
But I don't think running around. I mean, maybe when I was younger, but I'm an old man now. I'm old. I'm 38. I really have no interest in fucking dead puss. You know, when girls sit and say, I'm on birth control. Disgusting. Vile. There's nothing more disgusting than a bitch on birth control.
Yeah, but I think it's
Dead pussy.
disgusting if women get pregnant and they can't afford to look after that kid, or they end up in a council house on benefits and that kid has a shit
No,
life.
this is good. Bonnie,
Well,
this
that's
is good.
good.
No, let me explain.
We're going to run out of beans.
No, let me explain. This is a great thing. Feminism's led us here, and we voted to let in all these.
Pearl, I love you, but this is making me sad. Well, do you want me to lie? You can still make your life awesome. But we got to give up on this dream of saving the world. You can go out, you can get married if you want, if that's what you want to do. You can go get a long-term girlfriend. You can be alone forever and order Uber Eats, and you can make your life awesome. But you are going to have a really sad life trying to save the world around you, because even Elon and Trump, who have tons of power and influence, can't convince women to have children. So
Migrants, and all these migrants turn up and rape the state. Look, I've got hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
If I got a woman pregnant and she annoyed me, I'd say, yeah, call the council. Fuck you. Let's just rape the state like everyone else does. I'm brown enough. I'm black enough. I can do it. Put her in Marsh Farm, Luton, where I'm from. Be fine.
You wouldn't do that.
Who gives a fuck?
You wouldn't do that.
Who
Yeah, but that's your
cares?
kid.
She better text me respectfully. She can be rich. If she texts me beef, I'll be like, call the council, get a council house, whatever. Let's have kids. Let's just all live off the government. This is feminism. Because you don't live off the government if you have a husband. They don't want husbands. And they don't want husbands. Women want to get married, but they don't want husbands. They want to get married like Sex in the City style. You know, like you fuck a million men, then you get married to some really rich guy who lets you do whatever you want. Then you have an affair with the gardener, and then you spend all his money, and then somehow you're still the victim. That's the kind of marriage they want.
That's
they
most
don't
women's
want
dream.
That's right. They don't actually want to be wives, because wives are obedient, and wives are quiet, and wives listen. All women say this. I want to marry you, I want to marry you. Wait till you're in an argument with them and read their messages and go, this is why I will never marry you. This is why I will never marry you. I read their messages and they don't realize that they've ruined their chance forever. I cannot marry you because of how you talk. A wife doesn't do this. I've told you to be quiet 3 times.
they are speaking from knowledge but not wisdom. Eating candy is delicious but not sustainable. It is about speaking truth and not saving the world. Yes. That's why I have to be honest. I got to be honest. I got to be honest about where the world's going. There's some good things. We can get Uber Eats now. It's pretty cool. I can make money on the internet, which is super cool. You can order a hoe. You can Uber Eats hoes today. But if you have a trad fantasy, let it die. Let it die. You guys can bang different types of women that you would never have had access to 100 years ago if you get really good with women. Before you would have had to have a status and money barrier. Now you just got to learn to spit some game. Now it might take you years to do that if you're kind of weird, but you can do it. I've seen men do it.
Well, you can
And
do
here you are.
Go and get on that naughty corner.
That's right.
That naughty
So
step.
women don't want to be wives. They want to just get married, which means that the whole familiar structure is broken. Once the family structure is broken, who has to take the place? Government. Think about this. In Romania, we have no mental health care. Why are there no mental people or out in the streets? Family. We have no forced child support. Why are women not starving to death? Family. We have no disability care. Why are people not sitting on the streets with no legs? Family. Family does so much work. In the West, we have no family. So the government has to come along and offer mental health care, disability.
Russ says, how do things get better? Are you a billionaire? You can't make it better. But here's the thing, guys. Life literally begins when you accept it. Because then it's like a beautiful thing. It sounds blackpilling. And I think I get blackpilled more when you guys argue with me about where the world is going and say that I'm nihilistic. I'm like, you guys just don't get it yet. When you accept that this is where the world is going, you can play the rules of the game accordingly. Waiting till marriage, it's off the table for men and for women. If you're going to do that, do it in high school. If you don't find someone to do that with, you're done. It's modern dating. Men got to bang a bunch of women to get one that's loyal. Sorry. Relationships don't start. You're not going to find a trad wife till you start banging women. Myron's right. Everyone crucifies him for saying it, but he's right. Some do get lucky, or maybe they found their trad wife before the internet. But you can expect your wife has banged like 10 other dudes at least. You can just expect it. Assume all women are hoes. And now you can stop arguing and coping and getting mad and saying, oh, it shouldn't be like I can stop getting mad. Women, I know women that have had their lives changed by getting surgeries done. Plastic surgeries. They work, and I've seen it. They've gotten opportunities they never would have gotten had they not gotten those surgeries. I've seen it. It's true. I've seen Ozempic work. And I could get mad and say, it's not fair. I don't do that stuff. Why do they get all this, you know? And I could bitch and moan and whatever, or I could accept it and just say, hoes are gonna hoe. You can get mad and say, oh, women don't want to be wives, da 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 da, or you could just accept it and say, well, it is what it is. And life begins because you focus on yourself instead of saving the world. Life begins. I'm not depressed. That's the thing. I'm a little tired today because I was out in the sun and I got sunburnt, but I am telling you, the quality of life you have is better when you accept it. Yeah, it's not mad. Like being black-pilled, it's not being angry. It's not. It's about enjoy the decline. It's like enjoy the things, you know, now I can find adult gyms to learn hobbies that are meant for kids. Like I've always wanted to take ballet. I'm like, I could take a ballet class now. There's probably no ballet class for adults. But now I was looking it up the other day. I'm like, that's kind of cool. You know, you can create your own world, but you can't impose your will on the world. And it's a really good lesson too, because I think it prepares you to be a parent, because you can only teach your kids so much. You can't impose what you want to do onto them. Yeah, black-pilled is just being honest.
You care, force child support. The government has to do it because of feminism. So what I'm saying is if women don't want to get married to men anymore and they all want to listen to the fucking government, then the government can raise the motherfucking kids. Fine. Rob, you put 4 women in front of me, all different flavors. You give me Indian, Chinese, black, white, whatever. And you say you fuck them all and have a kid out of all of them and they'll all be raised on council estates around England. I'd say no problem. Why not? Why the fuck not? If they're real niggers, they'll survive.
If you don't feel guilty, that's your child.
Why would I feel guilty?
Because that's your child, it's your DNA.
Of course. And if the woman's nice to me and says, Andrew, I'm tired of living in Runcorn. Can I come live in Dubai in a mansion? I'll say, of course, my dear.
But then
if she annoys me, if she's like, oh, I'm here in Dubai and you left me by myself and you're with all these other women, who are all these whores on your boat? Then I'm like, bitch, go back to Runcorn.
Take the kid off her.
No, I'm not going to take the kid off her. She can keep the kid.
But it's your DNA.
Yeah, of course. And my DNA is survivor DNA.
Well, and if you've got a proper wife, that other wife will take that kid.
At least 5 of them will be real niggers. I don't need the other 45. Look, it's survival of the fittest out here. This is how it works. This is how my brain works. But you're saying, I don't know why we're going to sit here and create the logic fail of pretending it is wrong for a government to raise the children when that was a man's job, when men have had all of their authority removed. You want us to have the responsibility of a woman, the responsibility of a family, the responsibility of children, the responsibilities with none of the authority. You can't tell a woman what to do. You can't tell her to be quiet. You can't tell your kids off. You can't.
Okay, explain the Amish. Okay, go join the Amish then. Do you want to join the Amish? I don't. I don't want to live like that. I don't. Okay, well, I'm just going to ruin you guys' day some more. But when you guys do accept this, there is light at the end of the tunnel, I'll tell you what. If you help us win, we'll be Linkin Park legends. Maybe I'm down to play. If you DM me on Twitter, Pearly Things with a Z, or Instagram, just Pearly Things Official. I'll check after the show because I do like playing volleyball, so... I thought it was basketball. I don't know, one or the other. Anyways, guys, I could do both. So anyways, guys, make sure you like the video on your way out. Please subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow I'm either going to do a call-in show or I'm going to react to the rest of this. So I just got to figure out what I'm going to do. But like the video, guys, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.